guys, so today's video is going to be things that no one really talks about when they stop buying fast fashion, the biggest downsides to not buying fast fashion, and the biggest changes that happen, not just in your wardrobe, but in your social life as well. I just thought I would share my experiences. Granted, that is just what this is, my experience. Maybe you have different experiences when you decide to stop buying fast fashion, but I just thought I'd talk about things that I haven't heard anyone else talk about that happens when you stop buying fast fashion. I've not bought fast fashion for maybe like 9 months now, I want to say, maybe 8 months, I don't know, it doesn't matter. I did a video on fast fashion and not buying it, calling myself out for my past and my past videos and things like that. I will go ahead and link it up here if you want to check that out. It's all about why I stopped buying fast fashion, although it's pretty obvious to me. It's just not ethical. I decided that buying clothes new at a cheap price wasn't worth, you know, supporting sweatshops and all of that. So you can go watch that video if you want like a further explanation into that. But I thought I'd talk about my experience since not buying fast fashion, how my friends have reacted, and just, you know, my experiences. Because I feel like when people talk about fast fashion and not buying it anymore, it's painted as this like really positive thing that happens, and it's like, you're such a great person now because you don't support sweatshops and like unethical fashion companies. I think it's really honest to talk about the downsides to that, both, you know, in your own personal life and your social life and things like that. I will say that not buying fast fashion has been one of the harder transitions to make in my life. It's by no means extremely difficult. If you're already a fan of thrifting and buying secondhand, it'll be a breeze for you for the most part. But as far as like being cruelty-free with my makeup, that was probably the easiest change that I ever did. And then being vegetarian, obviously, doesn't affect anyone else but me. Well, maybe sometimes my boyfriend, because it depends what kind of food we make. But not buying fast fashion, I feel like has a different kind of effect on people that they don't understand as much. Because it's one thing to say, well, I don't want to eat meat, and then you can say, well, I'm cruelty-free with my makeup. I feel like those are much more accepted right now than not buying fast fashion. So I'll get into kind of the 3 struggles that I've noticed in my experience over this last like 9 months. One of which I call like internal struggle, which this has more to do with the feeling of FOMO. You just feel left out. It's okay to feel negative emotions, you know, because it's normal to watch something online or look through Instagram fashion and stuff and see things that you want, but knowing you can't have them. It's okay to feel a little left out in that situation and maybe a little disappointed that you can't own that thing. You just have to remind yourself that you're doing this for a reason, and it's hard sometimes, but you're doing a great thing by not supporting these unethical brands. But of course there is a struggle. I feel like no one talks about it. Maybe it's just me that feels this, but I still feel like when I look through Instagram to get inspiration for outfits, it's not the same because I can't buy those pieces, which sometimes that's a cool thing because then it's like I get to be really original in my wardrobe and like only buy secondhand or, you know, new ethical brands that not a lot of people own. But there is a part of me that's like wants to feel like, oh, I can thrift that, no problem. But ultimately, how realistic is it that you're gonna be able to find everything that you see on Instagram that you want in a thrift store? It's definitely taught me to be okay with shopping less, which I think is a great thing, and just owning less, which obviously based on my last video, I still have a ton of clothes. I could probably go through another declutter, but it's nice only shopping secondhand because you buy less stuff and ultimately have less things, so it's inadvertently you're more minimal, if that makes sense. Then we have like the external struggle. This is your external environment that's affected by you not buying fast fashion, and that would be your friends and family. So I don't want to like make any of my friends that might be watching this feel uncomfortable or anything, but I do feel like there's this awkwardness sometimes with them mentioning fast fashion in front of me, like whether they got something from a fast fashion company. I'm worried that they think I'm gonna judge them because they purchased something from Forever 21, let's say, but it's my decision. I would love to influence the people around me, but just like I decided to stop eating meat, that doesn't mean you, like all my friends, have to stop eating meat, you know? I made this decision for myself, and I'm sure a lot of people are like, well, you should encourage your friends not to do that, but it's my decision ultimately, and it's their decision, it's their life. I don't want to be preachy about it to them. So I still want them to be comfortable enough to be like, hey, look at this cool thing that I got. I'll still be excited for you, you know? So I don't want there to be like this tension with me and my friends of like, well, I got it from H&M. I just want everything to be normal, except I don't buy things from the mall, and that's really all it is. That's another thing, is like I can't buy anything at the mall, and I'm worried that they feel like they can't invite me to the mall because like if they're hanging out, because what am I gonna do there, you know? But I am completely content just hanging out with you guys. Like I don't know why I'm talking to you like my friends are watching this, I don't know. But you know what I mean. I'm completely content going to the mall with my friends and hanging out and, you know, watching them buy things. I have no problem with that. There are other stores like Daiso in there I can shop in. I also don't want them to ever feel like I would judge them or feel better than them or look down my nose at them shopping or anything like that, because that's definitely not the case. I would never do that to my friends. I don't look at them that way when they eat meat. Like I have no issue whatsoever because I know it's a personal decision. But I do feel like there can be this like awkwardness with my friends sometimes, and that also comes with like gifts. I feel like you have to be very open and honest with your friends as far as what you're comfortable with getting gifts, because sometimes you buy clothes or like shoes for your friends and you give them as a gift, but you should just be open with your friends as far as like, I don't want to have any fast fashion gifts. It'd be cool if you could like find something really cool for me secondhand. I don't know, that's getting a little bit more specific into that issue, but you know, just have a conversation with your friends. Like I don't want anything to change unless you aren't comfortable being at the mall or shopping with them, then that's something different. But just be open about what your boundaries are and what you're comfortable with ultimately as far as like fast fashion goes, because I guarantee you probably not all your friends are gonna stop buying fast fashion with you. So then there's what I call the real struggle, and this is actually not buying fast fashion. Like I said, kind of with the content online doesn't really apply, that, you know, that I used to consume doesn't apply to me anymore. You know, like the old fashion hauls that I used to watch and people still post, I don't click on those as often. I don't watch beauty videos that involve just non-cruelty free brands because that doesn't apply to me, so why would I watch that video, you know? So there is that weird transition, but as far as like the real struggle for me has been socks, underwear, activewear, lingerie, bras, things like that. I'm not there yet in that transition. I have still purchased those new because I'm not sure of sustainable brands and ethical brands that, you know, are good for those kind of things. If you know or have any suggestions that are like affordable brands, please leave that down below. But you know, there is a struggle as far as like things that you don't want to buy secondhand. For me, it's still like a little bit of a struggle figuring that whole situation out. But I think part of it is really evaluating what I do own and almost decluttering those categories less, because I know I can't immediately replace them yet. It's really taught me to respect my clothes more and really think twice before buying a piece, you know, at a thrift store or whatever. Like I have to have it for a really long time to justify purchasing it now, and I kind of like that. I don't know, it's kind of a struggle, but it's like fun at the same time. It's like really caring for what I own and like treating it with like love and care. So I'm still in my first year of not buying fast fashion, so obviously these things might change over time. I think my friends will adjust to my new lifestyle, you know, over time. I don't think it's like a huge thing in our friendship, obviously. It's just little moments here and there. You know, we can't walk into Forever 21 together and both walk out buying things because that's just not gonna happen for me. And I just hope that they don't mind that as much, you know, but I do feel a little awkward about it sometimes. I don't know. There's another struggle that I've kind of debated in my mind as far as me doing more fashion content, not only on YouTube, but on Instagram as well, is wearing my old fast fashion clothing. It's a little bit tricky because it's like I can't tag things in my photos like most influencers because A, it's either thrifted, or B, it's a fast fashion company that I bought years ago and I don't want to tag the brand because I don't want people to go out and buy it because I don't want to promote fast fashion. Does that make sense? That is very specific to me, I feel, because there's more people like asking me where my things are from, but there is still a little piece of that, I think, in, you know, that can apply to most of you who don't shop fast fashion. It's like when you still want to wear and own some of your fast fashion clothes that you bought before you stopped, because they're still decent clothes they're still working fine and you still like them. So it's like, what do you do when someone asks where you got it? Do you just be like straight up with them, or do you get into the whole thing? You know, it's like weird. Kind of like with makeup that I owned for a while after I went cruelty-free, and I still had some pieces that were not cruelty-free. I kept them because, you know, they still were fine and like good, you know, not expired or anything, so like I just used them up. I think that not buying fast fashion is kind of like animal products as far as like every little bit counts. So, you know, some people will promote meatless Mondays, like just slowly, gradually cutting out meat in your life, or dairy and things like that. Trying to be like, eat as vegan as possible as often as you can, because every little bit makes a difference. I think you can apply that same thing, that same concept to fast fashion. It's just about, you know, a transition if you need. Like if you need a year to slowly stop buying fast fashion, then I think that's okay. It can be a journey. It's not always easy, and I feel like that is how a lot of people portray it, and not a lot of people talk about the actual struggles that go along with not buying fast fashion anymore. And it is a great positive thing. Like I highly encourage everyone to at least research into it and like look into it, and, you know, buy less of it if you can. There is like a transitional period where people kind of have to get used to you not buying it, because for some reason it's like less popular than like dietary changes or like makeup, cruelty-free makeup and stuff. I feel like being vegan is much more popular than being sustainable and ethical when shopping fashion, at least how it's presented online. Maybe that's just me, I don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts about all of this, and like if you have personally ever had like a struggle with not buying fast fashion, if it's like affected your life at all, or if you have considered it, or, you know, wherever you are in your, you know, journey of not buying fast fashion, please let me know your opinions down below. And I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.